Welcome back for another video. The Roundup is a series on this channel that arms you with useful information to take into each game week to arrive at better decisions. This includes the top players for predicted points, the bookies odds, transfer trends and more. An accumulation of smaller but correct decisions can have a significant impact on your rank over the course of the season. Just before we jump in, today's video is sponsored by Spitch, which is a free app on both iOS and Android. A link to the app is at the top of the description. Spitch complements FPL very well. You create a lineup within the budget and you score points based on how they do. What sets it apart is you pick a fresh team every game week, almost like having a wildcard every week, and on top of that you can win cash prizes. You can even join mid-game week, so if you miss the early kickoff you're fine. I love the concept as it's a lot more fun than putting a bet on a game. However, since you can play for money, it's 18 plus only. It also supports the channel, so give it a try and see what you think. Thank you again to Spitch. To download the app, simply hit the link at the top of the description. Enjoy the video. We'll start with the Goalscorer Odds, which are always based on the assumption that a player starts, and this is sometimes not the case. The odds are aggregated for Burnley, who have the double, and therefore it's Weghorst out in front with a 45.5% chance of scoring any time across his two games. His underlying numbers have been reasonable considering Burnley aren't an attacking side. In his 5 appearances he's taken 7 shots inside the box, created a big chance and had 1 big chance himself. That of course includes games against Man United, Liverpool and Tottenham too. Ronaldo's in second for a great game against Watford at home. If you're on a free hit, it's tricky to find room for him, with the likes of Kane, Son and Fernandes looking like great picks too, and they all make the top 10 on the Goalscorer Odds. Mahrez and Sterling are tied with a 38.5% chance of scoring for their trip to Goodison Park against Everton. The Man City mids also look like excellent picks on a free hit, but nailing which one is tricky. Brozier's got a 36.5% chance of scoring, and he looks like one of the best enablers in the game currently. Southampton face Norwich this weekend, followed by double game week 28 against Aston Villa away and Newcastle at home. Onto the clean sheet odds, and Man United are top for the match against Watford. It was another disappointing defeat for Watford in game week 26, and they now sit 4 points clear of safety in 19th, and the teams above them have a game in hand. It could be somewhat of a cagey game due to the importance, which could suit Man United defensive assets like Dalot and Shaw. Man City is second with a 49.5% chance, followed by Southampton and Crystal Palace. Burnley's odds are aggregated and they've got a 41% chance across their 2 games. Burnley now have 4 clean sheets in their last 6 games played, so the likes of Pope, me and Roberts all look like great options, particularly if you're on a free hit or if you plan to wildcard in game week 28. Brighton and Aston Villa face off this week for another tricky one to predict, with both sides offering options in defence. Brighton have a 31.5% chance and Villa have a 25% chance. Rock bottom this game makes Everton with a 9.5% chance for their home game to Man City, who will be on the hunt for nothing less than 3 points after the Spurs defeat. Watford and Norwich are narrowly behind for their games against Man United and Southampton respectively. Let's take a look at the predicted points for game week 27 next, and Weghorst is on top with 8.6 predicted points. Burnley's double consists of Crystal Palace and Leicester. Last game Palace were missing Ward in defence and Guaita between the sticks. The second of Weghorst's double in particular looks enticing at home to Leicester. Leicester have given up 58 big chances this season, which is 3rd worst. They're also 4th worst for expected goals and goals conceded. Pope is in second with 7.1 predicted points. It's rare that we see a keeper so high up, but it's the nature of this game week being both a blank and a double. Stick around for the end of the video as we'll look at the Captaincy Poll results and who everyone's going for this game week. Ronaldo's in third with 6.5 points, followed by Son and Kane, who both look worth considering due to facing up against Leeds, though they are in dire form with 4 losses in their last 5. Cornet has dropped off the predicted points after missing their last game with a foot injury. It's not reportedly serious, but he still looks like an avoid, as does McNeil. The Burnley defenders Me, Roberts and Tarkowski make the top 10, and you could even make the case for doubling up considering their form. Though it is important to be conscious of game week 28 where Burnley face Chelsea. Onto the most transferred in, and Weghorst leads with just over 200,000 picking him up. No surprises there as he represents a captain option as we saw on the predicted points chart. Surprisingly Salah's second, who of course blanks this game week. The rest of the list all look like excellent players to consider. Son, Ward-Prowse, Brozier, Kane all good choices, and they have double game weeks on the horizon too. If you've used all your free hits up or plan to save yours for after game week 30, then those who double in game week 28 and 29 but also don't blank in 30 are particularly good teams to look at, such as Arsenal, Wolves and Aston Villa. The next round of the FA Cup fixtures are from the 1st to the 3rd of March, after which point we'll have a full picture of the game week 30 fixtures and blanks. Onto the most transferred out players, and Diogo Jota is top with over 300,000 getting rid as we near the deadline. It's a shame he missed the double game week through injury, as you could easily see him doing well, much like Mane and Salah did. So Maximin and Antonio are second and third, who are underperforming and they're easy makeaways for Weghorst. Newcastle have the back-to-back doubles, so it's a shame he's out injured, and likewise Trippier, as it could have been an interesting pick. Although they've got the back-to-back doubles, no names leap out. Perhaps Dubravka for 4.4 mil as a backup keeper. Salah was the second most transferred in, but he's also the fourth most transferred out. The only real case you can make for selling is if you're on a free hit or if you plan to wildcard in Gameweek 28. One approach you could take this game week is to sell a player like Salah for another premium such as Son or Bruno who don't blank, and then immediately wildcard in Gameweek 28 with Salah back in. Presumably this is why Trent also appears on the most sold list, as he's a season keeper long term. Edouard was doing fairly well for Crystal Palace, but he lost his spot at the worst possible time right before the double Gameweek 26 in favour of Mateta. Elsewhere, Saka and Ronaldo also make the list. We'll finish the roundup as always with the Captaincy Poll results. Thanks to everyone who voted on the poll on our Discord. If you'd like to join, a link's in the description. The results are in and they are as follows. Weghorst leads with a huge majority of the vote with 64.7%, next is Son with 15.9%. Leeds have continued to struggle and leak goals with key players missing. Kane gets 4.2% of the vote, who just might be the standout differential pick of the game week. 9.1% voted for other, so a few names possibly missing. If your name doesn't appear here, leave a comment below and let us know who you're going for. That concludes this game week's episode of the Roundup. Thanks for watching. If you found it useful, please hit like to support the channel and hit subscribe if you're new. I read every comment, so as always I'm keen to hear your thoughts.